they're also enjoying the tier 3 guardians a lot more. And you can still learn to stagger, still learn to counter, still learn to do the destruction grenades in tier 3, where you'll be repeating these bosses day in and day out. So learning these fights in tier 3 is way more important than spending time here and fooling around, when you can learn that better here with better boss designs. What's up, y'all? ZEALS, and you guys have been asking me all day about this. What do you think about the nerf, man? What do you think about the nerf? So here are my thoughts. I don't know if I could go over all of them, but I'll try to capture the major points. So yeah, tier 1, tier 2 guardian raids, not all. You may recognize a couple here. We got Titalos, and Flame Fox Yoho, as well as the Abyss dungeons. Some of them are gonna get nerfed. Now, I know, I get it, man. I've been reading a lot of posts. There are some major concerns from the people that are against the nerfs. They're just afraid that the Legion Commander rates, the endgame rates that we have in Korea, that we don't have just yet in NAEU, it'll come. They're afraid that they're also gonna get nerfed. So you guys are afraid that these will get nerfed. And just to tell you guys straight up, no bullshit, just the truth. Some of these have already been nerfed in Korea multiple times. Not only bug fixes, but nerfs as well. Abrashut Hard, which is Bredeshaza, I guess. Bredeshaza in the NAEU version. I'm on my alt right now. But yeah, she's been nerfed in hard mode, normal mode as well. After what was it? 2 weeks? 3 weeks after release? After all the hardcore people cleared it. Been nerfed. Still hard. Doesn't mean she's not hard. Kukuseiton, we got Byaku's also nerfed. All of them have gotten nerfed. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because a lot of people are freaking panicking about that. Now, the second thing that you guys were concerned about were players not taking the time to learn all the mechanics for the tier 1 and 2 Guardian raids, as well as the Abyssal dungeons. I agree with that. You know what? I agree with all the points. Like, getting endgame raids nerfed sucks. We want difficulty. I get it. I'm with you on that. And people not learning mechanics and just pounding these down and moving to tier 3, you know, that kind of worries you. You guys think that some players need to know how to stagger, need to know when to hold off their skills so that they can counterattack, or using grenades correctly. That is very important. I agree, but there's also a great post on Reddit by another Korean player about, you know, we're getting a very accelerated patch. I don't know if it's like 3 times faster than the Korean server. I don't know the real math on this, but one thing's for sure, we are getting accelerated into tier 3. We already launched with tier 3, Astalgia. Season 2 Astalgia tier 3. We'll talk more about that stuff. I'll explain that stuff later on. Just follow me along here. We're basically going fast. And even last year in Korea, we had 4 major endgame Legion Commander raids. It was a beautiful year. We have the normal, the hard, and the hell for some of these. And wow, it's a miracle. Like the director said, it was a miracle getting these out in a year. Which company does that for an MMO? For freaking huge raids. Remember, they have normal, some have hard and hell, right? So it was a lot to take in for us as players in Korea, learning all these fights. It was constant research and homework and practice to be experts in these raids. It took a lot of time. And asking, what this post is pretty much saying is asking the general population to also not only learn the basics, the tripods, the gems, island system, the collection system, the runes and all of that. You gotta also learn how to do all these fights in tier 1 and 2. When we're just, you know, these are stepping stones. Tier 1 and 2, we'll talk about why they're stepping stones, but they're literal stepping stones for us to get into the promised land of tier 3. Now, this is not the finish. Tier 3 is not the finish. Tier 3 is the start of this game. Every time somebody comes to my chat, how do I make more silver? Get your ass to tier 3. Get all your characters to tier 3. Okay? How do I get more cooldown reduction? I'm just sitting there. My cooldowns are not coming back up. This feels weird. My classes feel like their screws are missing. Well, get your ass over to tier 3. Every question, the answer is pretty much get to tier 3. Now, once again, that does not mean rush. Just take your time, get to tier 3. The main director wants us to get to tier 3. That's where the game starts. Tier 1 and tier 2 are versions of the game that failed. Even to this day, when we talk about tier 1 and 2, the main director, when he goes live, he steps away from the podium and does a 90-degree bow, apologizing for tier 1 and 2 because they were abominations, almost killed this game. It made people embarrassed to play this game. That's why there's an inner meme, a joke about this stuff. Do you still play Lost Ark? Now people are proudly saying in Korea that they are. But 2 years ago, that was not the case. And I asked my chat, if we only had tier 1 and 2, just like the Korean players, and you had to play it for 2 years, would you have continued? The answers were no. So we have tier 3, a version of the game that is the winning formula. It keeps people logging in every day. I'll show you the data for that. Well, not me, the director will. And that's the winning formula. That is why we don't play in tier 2 or tier 1, we go to tier 3. That's why we don't have any plans, or they don't have any plans, or any talks for tier 4, because tier 3 is the winning formula. I had this person ask me in chat, crazy good question, why tier 3 is so good. And the answer starts with C, content. The Legion Commander raids, content. We have content. So I don't know, once again, how they're gonna nerf these bosses. Like, where's Titulus? Right here. Like, how they're gonna nerf these bosses. But I don't really think, and other Korean players, they don't really feel like players should be spending a lot of time here wiping their ass and learning mechanics when they could be just doing that in tier 3, where you could just be wiping to these more modernized Guardian raids built with the feedbacks of players that were about to quit in tier 1 and 2. I believe these are more modernized. Are they still frustrating? I believe so. Some of them are still frustrating, like this motherfucker right here, Car-Elegos, but most of them are manageable, and most of them you can pretty much master, and they'll just be homework for you guys, where you spend maybe 2 to 3 minutes per day per kill and be out of there, so that you can spend time elsewhere. Not on retrying daily Guardian raids multiple times, but on other content such as collecting runes. And I also agree with this point. Instead of being cock-blocked by frustrating content. Remember, frustrating doesn't mean necessarily hard. It's just frustrating. Instead of doing that, why don't we get players into tier 3? And remember, in order for players to get more materials to get out of tier 1 and 2, they need to do higher Guardian raids, and these guys do drop decent amount of materials, and in order to do the next stage to get more loot, you have to do the previous one. So by nerfing some of the annoying ones, maybe the director wants the bulk of the community to get into tier 3. Not only their main, but their alts as well. Get everybody into tier 3 so that they can unload the real content, the start of this game, which is pretty much Argos, and beyond that, the Legion Commander raids with Bolton, Vikas, Cuckoo Satan, as well as Preshaza. And what we're gonna get in Korea this year is Iliakan or Akan in NAEU, as well as Kamen. So as you can see here, this is from Loa on Winter. Look at that. Season 1 is the red bar. Season 2 is the white bar, and season 2 plus Nostalgia, the one we have in NAU, is the yellow bar. So as you can see, the daily users right here increased 6 folds from season 1, tier 1, and tier 2, and season 2 is when tier 3 came out, and then Nostalgia is today. 6 folds. Now, peak users 6.6 folds. New users 7 folds. People that came back to the game after quitting. In tier 1, tier 2, not many, but in Nostalgia 2.68. Why? Because the winning formula is the Legion Commander raids. The Legion Commander raids, as well as the catch-up mechanics. Remember, there are a lot of people creating fear about the honing raids. And yes, in the end game, honing rates, they do go down drastically. However, through events as well as barriers destroyed by the director so that people can enter the end game, people are able to, as a free-to-play or anything, whatever you label yourself, they're able to enjoy the end game. And because of that, player retention rates, new players coming to the game, or players quitting and coming back, is going up drastically in Korea. I asked my chat this today. If you play Lost Ark again today in NAEU and you can start at tier 3, you can start from tier 3, maybe due to power passes or something, you start from tier 3 versus starting over from tier 1, what would you choose? And most people said that they would start at tier 3. And guess what? Korean players start at tier 3 as well. We have 2 free power passes that gets us to tier 3, 1302 eye level before even installing this game. You can just claim it at the main webpage and you get the free boosts to tier 3. And they start from Punika. As you can see, this player right here with the Mokoko seed, a new player. Now, yeah, that's another thing. In Korea, we also have Mokoko icon status where new players have a protection. They take less damage wherever they go. Was it 40%? And it goes all the way to 1445 item level. So as they're doing Argos raid at 1370, as they're doing Bolton Legion Commander raid at 1415 eye level, they have that buff. So sitting there and saying that these nerfs are gonna kill the game when people in Korea are starting at tier 3, learning the game from tier 3, the starting point of Lost Ark, with a 40% reduction buff on them until 1445 item level. I think we need to relax a little bit here. I think we need to relax a little bit and see the big picture. The big picture is the game starts at tier 3. We need everybody on board. Whether they give up at tier 3, it doesn't matter. Everyone needs to get to tier 3. How long that takes, I don't know, but the sooner people get to tier 3, the more endgame content will be thrown at us. There will be things for the hardcore to chase, as well as for those that are in, the mid to the casuals. There will be always things for you guys to chase at your own pace. But that starts at tier 3. Okay? Tier 1, tier 2, though all the mechanics that you could have learned, you can learn it even better in tier 3. For the people that have done tier 3 Abyss dungeons, they have enjoyed the Abyss dungeons in tier 3 more than the previous predecessors. They're also enjoying the tier 3 Guardians a lot more. And you can still learn to stagger, still learn to counter, still learn to do the destruction grenades in tier 3, where you'll be repeating these bosses day in and day out on all your characters pretty much, should you choose to do so. You'll be doing Erection over and over again. You'll be doing Yoho over and over again. So learning these fights in tier 3 is way more important than spending time here and fooling around, when you can learn that better here with better boss designs. Like Death Kaluda, right? This boss right here is just way better designed than its predecessors, the previous versions of itself. It's way easier to counter. It gives you time to counter. It's way easier to anticipate its moves. Even though it's a 14-15 eye level boss, it is way easier for a new player to learn to counter and to do stagger and all of that stuff in these tier 3 Guardians. Same with the Ice Turtle. Way better to learn to counter and do the mechanics than the fire version of itself. So coming to tier 3 and learning the basics, I believe, is what the director wants. That's all I got to say about that, guys.